What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday on this 4th of July weekend. But we're going to start popping fireworks here on the final whistle with my All-Americans here on the Bama Standard Network. Please hit that like, subscribe button. We got an exciting show today, but let me shout out the rest of the Crimson Avengers. Let's go down below who's just showing his chest. That's for your other show later tonight, Chris. Chris James, how are you today?
I'm good, man. This is what I feel like right here.
Champion?
Yes, sir. I feel like a champion right now, man.
You got that from Courtney Morgan and Kalen DeBoer? Is that what you got?
You know what I'm saying, man? I just feel like a champion, dog. I feel like it's championship season, man. This is the time of year where champions are made, man. So I'm ready for it. I'm ready for all of it.
Yeah, that's why I'm here, because the champion's been made.
Go.
Oh, speaking of champions, ding, ding, ding. Mr. Around the Table Sports, Mr. UFC, Mr. Boxing. I mean, he does it all. Keeper of Blaze. No, Keeper of Grandeur.
No, you had it. Keeper of Blaze, disappointer of Grandeur.
Disappointer of Grandeur. Okay. Around the Table Sports, ATS, Ty Hayes. How's everything going?
Man, I can't complain. What a week, right? What a way to kick off July. We need to talk about what happened in June. Alabama picked up 9 commits, easily the hottest team in the nation in recruiting, kicking off the month of July with a big win. 4-star tight end out of California, Kaleb Edwards. Excited to get into that. Excited to talk about the new faces in the SEC, Oklahoma and Texas, because I think they're great additions, right? Like, no matter what, I do think they're great additions. I'll get into why later.
Greg Sankey don't find me yet, but I'm already throwing him down.
What's up, Dre? Shout out to my boy in the comment section, Dre Huntley. What's up, dog?
What's up, Dre? Shouts out to all the people in the comment, the chat.
What's up, y'all?
Ladies and gentlemen, our lead recruiting analyst. Speaking of a cold summer, he's hot dance by summer. Dan James, how are you? You're on mute.
Wouldn't be a live show unless that happened.
That's right. Roll Tide, everybody. Yeah, another commitment Tuesday. Huge pickup today. Excited for action-packed show.
Ladies and gentlemen, my great friend, my great brother, final whistle analyst, the Crimson final whistle Thor / Debo, Lushawn Graves. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great, man. We got a lot of stuff to get into. It's going to get deep. It's going to get nasty. We're going to keep it popping. And most importantly, we're going to let Petty roast Auburn.
Let's go. Petty got the nice polo shirt on tonight. I mean, a ray of sunshine coming from Masajicon with Hugh Freeze, Bahama Breeze Freeze. Petty, Daniel Petty, how are you? How's everything going? Are you ready for an exciting show today?
Hey, just another day in paradise, another Tuesday to make fun of Auburn. It looks like we got a Sooner in the chat already?
Oh, we got Sooners in here?
Bishop Frank, Dr. Newkirk, is that
Come on now. Hold on. Bishop is a great dude. Been a long time supporter of the channel over at Around the Table Sports.
Great. No, we're glad to have
great you, guy. Bishop. Thank you very much for hopping in here today, Bishop.
Thank you, Bishop. Give us a good word.
Absolutely. Glad you're here, man. Hey, we're glad to be here on a Tuesday night talking college football. Well, like I said, it's an exciting time, man. Say what you will, but Oklahoma and Texas in our lifetime are what you call blue bloods of the sport. So coming to the SEC, can they do it? I'm ready to talk about it. Going to be fun. And of course, I may have an Auburn quip or two in the tank.
Yeah, as long as you're not Auburn, you're probably safe, right?
Yeah. You're
maybe
good.
Tennessee. Auburn.
Well, listen, guys, we're talking about the newcomers in the SEC. We're talking about recruiting. Just tune in. We got an action-packed show. But before we get to our topics, let's talk about our sponsors. Workspace Solutions. If you want to take your digital online presence to new heights, new levels in this in 2024 and future years to come, go to Workspace Solutions at workspacepros.com. That is Workspace Solutions at workspacepros.com. if you're looking to take your business to new heights, new levels. Guys, let's get right into it. Let's talk about Kaleb Edwards, guys, and let's talk about him committing due for the class. Dan, I'm going to go with you. Ty, Chris, Petty, Lushawn, always got a great year round us out. Dan, you're our lead recruiting analyst. Tell us how Alabama is just striking hot in this cold summer in recruiting.
Yeah, it's man, the California connection to Alabama, man. I mean, wow. We have driven a highway straight from Tuscaloosa to California, and another huge pickup, this guy, Kaleb Edwards, is what I consider, the tight end we've been looking for the past few years. We've been recruiting the athletic tight end, Jaleel Billingsley, the Amari Niblack, but this one is more of an inline, I like his body type. And he's more of a natural tight end rather than an athlete, we're throwing putting in the tight end position. This is a true tight end, played at a high level. He's what I call, a guy can go sit in the zone, find open spots, sit in the zone because he's such a big target. Love him, anytime you get a, top 150 player, it's a huge, massive pickup, especially at the tight end position.
Ty Hayes, give us your take regarding Kaleb Edwards, and let's talk about the June that Alabama put together with 9 and already popping fireworks on this 4th of July weekend in the Kaleb Edwards commit.
Yeah, whenever we talk about Kaleb Edwards, he's a do-it-all type tight end, and I think that's what makes such a great addition. And shout out to Brian Ellis, right? We had someone from Squad Blitz, a brand new fantasy football, college football experience that I'll be sure to be telling y'all guys about that's working with me in the channel. He came on the show the other day and he was talking about how someone last year drafted Western Kentucky high because of Brian Ellis not realizing he's not there anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, that offensive guru, Brian Ellis, he's now the tight ends coach at the University of Alabama, if you're wondering what that connection was. Speaking specifically on Kaleb Edwards, this kid ran a sub, and I mean just sub 20-mile-per-hour sprint at the combine of last year's All-American game. Now, he was so close, I actually do believe this year, if he continues, if he works, he will be able to hit 20 miles per hour. At 6'6", 240 pounds, kid can move. That's what makes him so interesting. He's got the frame to be a blocker, though, let's be honest, Dan, and I think you and I, we could go on for days about this. I'm sure everyone here could. I don't think there's a tight end coming out of high school that doesn't need time in a college strength and conditioning room before you throw them out there against a Will Anderson in the SEC, right? Like they all need some time. I'm not sitting here telling you he's going to be the best blocker on the team, day dot, but he's got the frame. And more than that, he's got the willingness. Plus, offensive mismatch, he can go get the ball. Whenever we're talking about June, gentlemen, I'm just going to go very quickly through this list. You have Dejon Lee, number 22 national, number 4 cornerback, number 1 in California. Key Russ, number 38 national, number 6 quarterback, number 10 in Texas, plus Elite 11 MVP, plus Rivals 5-star MVP. Watch for that to jump up to 5-star status. And I'd imagine he's going to finish within the top 3 quarterbacks in the nation. Whether that's the top 3 quarterbacks, take it from me, it's going to be Tavian St. Clair, Key Russ, and Underwood. No particular order. Those are going to be your top 3. You also had Chuck McDonald, 6'1", 190, number 76 nationally, number 9 cornerback, number 7 in California. Micah DeBose, 6'5", 315, number 89 nationally. Number 8 at his position, number 8 in Alabama. Dawson Merritt, 6'3", 215, number 92 nationally. That's 5 top 100 players in the nation. He's also the number 11 linebacker, number 3 in the state of Kansas, plus his dad is an NFL coach, incredibly high football IQ. Michael Carroll, 6'6", 315. Now, on the 24/7 Sports Composite, gentlemen, he comes in at number 187, but important to note, On 3 has him as number 27. He's one of those guys that's really just starting to get into that camp scene. Watch for him to fly up the board. just like I told you Lotzier Brooks would, and I don't think Lotzier Brooks is done flying up the board. We move forward. Jackson Lloyd, 6'7", 290 pounds, number 188 nationally, number 19 offensive tackle, and the number 17 in California. This is a guy that really proves how important relationships are. Courtney Morgan, Kalen DeBoer, very early in that process. And then to round it out, we have Mal Waldrop, 6'5", 320. He's a 3-star from the state of Alabama, but really a grinder, someone that I think you're really excited you get in your class. If Coach Cap, if Coach DeBoer look at him and say, hey, he fits into our system, I'm going to take him. You want to know why? Parker Brailsford was a 3-star. Parker Brailsford's now one of the highest graded offensive linemen in the nation and the highest graded returning center. And I finish it off, London Simmons, 6'3", 295, 3-star from Mississippi. Once again, just green, right? Very talented, just great. He's someone who will benefit from coming in, taking a year, learning the college game, getting acclimated to a college strength and conditioning program. I think that he's one of these kids, guys, that will probably redshirt year one and then will be a menace for offensive lines to deal with every year thereafter.
What a great breakdown by Mr. Around the Table Sports. Chris, before I lob it up to you, give us your, our panel. We like to pride ourselves on being GMs, unofficial GMs. Chris, regarding Kaleb Edwards, do you have a player comp about this tight end that you could maybe compare this kid to? His style of play, how we might utilize him in DeBoer's offense?
Yes, he reminds me a lot of Jimmy Graham from the Saints. With the way he moves, his athleticism, you can use him as an inline tight end. He has long arms. The way he gets in and out of his breaks at his size is a thing of beauty to watch. He runs his routes like a big receiver. He uses his hands well. He has very long arms, so he plucks the ball out the air. He has great body control, and he doesn't go down on first contact. But the thing that's so impressive about him, in addition to that, is he's a willing blocker. He gets off the ball. He can get up to the second level on those linebackers. He can seal the edge, and he can help open up running lanes. He's the type of kid that, after 1 year in a strength and conditioning program, he should be an absolute monster. He's already 6'6", going into his senior year, so he can stand and grow another inch or two. That's why I say the Jimmy Graham comparison, because Jimmy Graham was a 6'8" guy that you could split out wide. You can use him inline. He's just so versatile. In 25 next year, we're breaking in. More likely, this will be Miro's swan son season, so he'll probably be going off to the league. And when you're breaking in a new quarterback, what's the best thing for a quarterback to have? A big tight end that can move the chains. That's a new quarterback's best friend. And I think he'll play early at Bama, because we'll probably be losing Dupree and Oots next year. And then Caleb Odom moved outside to receiver. So it's some time to be had there, to be picked up by a tight end. And he's an instant impact. He's the best tight end on the West Coast, the highest ranked one. He's a consensus top 5, 6 tight end in the country, and I think he's slightly underranked. I think he's a top 100 type player, because 6'6", 240-pound guys that can move like that, they don't grow on trees, man. And I think he's going to be our SEC caliber player, and that is a huge pickup, because we haven't had one of his mold probably since O.J. Howard. The last time we had a tight end that big, that can run like that was that athletic. Like Irv Smith was good, but Irv Smith was what, 6'3", maybe 6'4",
6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, he wasn't that big a guy. And we had some Miller Forrestall, but was a good one. But this guy right here is a bigger guy. He's more of a brute guy with very, very plus athleticism. So I'm extremely excited about the prospects of him coming in and being an impact on this offense.
Great analysis right there. Let's go, Petty. Petty, give us your take, and then we're going to end with LaShawn, because I know he's got a lot of great analysis regarding Bama's recruits as well as Kaleb Edwards.
Oh, man. Well, when you in DeBoer's offense, where they spread it around so much, you have a tight end coming over the middle that's got that type of athletic ability. It just adds a weapon that that just makes the offense that more dynamic. And you're talking about 6'6", 240s, and I watched a little bit of film on him. The kid it's got like a Tony Gonzalez look to me, with a little more blocking. I know that's a high standard, but crap, man, with the kid's size and athletic ability, I don't see why you can't get that production, especially in this type of offense. So no, he's like you said, he's really a top 100 type talent, but tight ends don't always get the love, but they're definitely can be the most dangerous weapon in an offense, especially one like DeBoer. So, man, this kid, man, something to be excited about. Edwards is the real deal.
LaShawn, before I give it to you, is there anything that you want to, add besides talking about the impact Kaleb Edwards has to this class? Do you think we try to get another tight end? Where do you think we go, and who do you give credit for bring Alabama on the staff bringing this guy in?
I mean, I heard Kalen DeBoer really give a shout out to his guy Courtney Morgan and his relationships and how those just stem throughout his recruiting processes. And I think that's one of the most important things that has been able to allow us to pull all these high named recruits in like we have. But I think as a whole, like everybody said, it's the staff thing. It's the connection throughout the nation. Brian Ellis, it's just it's amazing to see all these coaches come in that everybody thought couldn't recruit, and then they come to Bama, and all of a sudden, we just smacked June out of the park, and it's July 2nd, and we already got one. I mean, it's only gonna get better. Colder, I mean, way colder.
Shivering, way colder. Let's go. So, guys, I think we're just really excited. Shouts out to Courtney Morgan, DeBoer, Brian Ellis, the other guys recruiting. It's gonna be we got another month to really finish out this cold summer. Before I transition, Dan, is there any maybe names we need to kind of be on the lookout for? You and Ty maybe could address before we close out this topic.
Yes. I still like where Alabama sits with A.K. Deere and Caleb Cunningham, 2 out of Mississippi. Also, we have a big announcement tomorrow. Justin Hill is announcing tomorrow. I think it's at 1 p.m. Eastern on the YouTube 247 YouTube page. Right now I have no feeling, but my gut says Ohio State, but it's close. I can confirm he hasn't notified any staff yet. So that's one to look at. That's still up in the air. So if we miss on him as a Wolf target, I think we'll still be done at the Wolf position. We already have Dawson Merritt, and we still have a lot of Wolves on the roster. And I say six or seven that I counted that can play the Wolf position. So, that's not a high priority position. We got one. We hit on our top target, which was Dawson Merritt. So, it'll be luxury, add Justin Hill, phenomenal player. But that's one to look out for as far as tomorrow.
Yeah. Can I chime in on that? Yeah, I think coming out of his visit from Bama, I think we may have had a slight lead. But as the longer this drags out, the more it looks like it may be Ohio State. But it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up in Crimson. But right now, I'm with Dan. I'm thinking he's leaning Ohio State. But if he would have made a decision coming out of his visit, he would have been Bama. But we've been surprised by a lot of these kids committing, jumping on ships. So it wouldn't surprise me with the momentum that we have right now. I just think that with our history of edge guys, I think we have a puncher's chance.
Todd, Petty, LaShawn, any other things, any other recruits that maybe you are hearing rumblings about, possibly?
Yeah, I can echo what Dan says about the Mississippi kids. It's sounding really good for Alabama on both Cunningham and Deere. And look, man, both of them are 5-star talent kids. Cunningham may be the best receiver in the country, and Deere is starting to show out. Just started showing out in camps this last offseason. So, man, yeah, that's echo what Dan's saying. Get excited because it sounds like Deere and Cunningham are going to jump aboard in this cold summer. Good gracious, Morgan, boys, Gillespie, DeBoer, they're doing some damn work. I didn't think they could recruit in the South. I was told they couldn't recruit in the South.
Petty, do you think Gillespie getting Daniel Hill has really has much of an impact in the state of Mississippi, being able to hopefully get A.K. Deere and Cunningham?
I mean, I don't know. I think it's a little more individualized. I just think it's more of a shot to just how good Gillespie is at building these relationships. And Alabama's always had success in the state of Mississippi. I've said it a million times. A lot of those kids want to get out of the SIP, and Alabama's right next door and is the premier. So, you know, it's always kind of the SIP kids are enamored with Alabama. So and when you got someone as dynamic as Gillespie and then Morgan sealing the deal and then DeBoer, you know, what he brings to the table, it's just, it's an easy sell. So, I mean, yeah, it helps when you get Hill because you got those Mississippi relationships that are there and current. But no, I just think it's more just a knock to the power of this recruiting machine right now. Because Cunningham is a completely different story of his own. He's up in Mississippi State territory and has a lot of guys, a lot of family that's chirping in his ear. Like y'all talk about those uncles and uncles. A lot of pressure on that kid to stay at Mississippi State. And I think Bama's going to ultimately get Cunningham.
Ty Hayes, you were saying something earlier, sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree with both of them. I liked being up with the elephant head. I positioned my body in a manner that looked like the elephant was now my head. So I was excited about that. But I agree, Deere, Cunningham. And it's interesting, guys. I said this a week or two ago, but I think it needs to be brought up again. Robert Gillespie is a recruiting wizard. I'm going to quickly run through this list. Keon Keeley, 5-star. Jahad Campbell, 5-star. Justice Haynes, 5-star. Des Ricks, 5-star. Manuel Henderson was at one point a 5-star. Jalen Hurd, Kamar Wheaton, 5-star. Alvin Kamara, Tyler Booker, Richard Young was a 5-star at one point. Ty Chandler, Jamarian Miller, Earl Little, Kevin Riley, Turbo Rogers, Daniel Hill, just to name a few. What that tells me is they're not just sending him after his position. Roach does the same thing. There are some guys out there where it's like you are so good at recruiting, so good at building relationships, go get him. I don't care if you're going to be the primary coach or not, go get him. And he's done a great job. On Cunningham, one thing that I think, you know, Petty's has spoke about the family, or maybe voices within the family, maybe hoping Mississippi State is a team. I think one thing that's helping Bama and hurting Mississippi State is, one, they have a first-time head coach, Jeff Lebby, who I love his offense, but who's the quarterback? Right? Like, that's an offense where you are going to need an accurate quarterback that is impeccable at timing. It's one thing to have a big arm, right? Having a big arm quarterback is awesome. I would argue having a quarterback with impeccable timing trumps having a quarterback with a big arm every single day. Who is the kid that was just at Tennessee?
Blake Shapen is who State's quarterback is, but that doesn't really excite the recruits all that much, I don't believe.
Fair. Who was that kid who was just at Tennessee? I can't remember his name. Milton has a cannon. He's not Tua. Tua doesn't have the arm strength Milton has, but Tua's timing is impeccable. Like, you can't teach it. Tua can run an offense far better than can Milton, right? And I think that's one of the biggest hindrances to Mississippi State right now. Plus, they don't have Shep, right? They don't have DeBoer, right? They don't have Bama's quarterback room. The other name I would give you before I get out of here is Ty Haywood. If I'm not mistaken, an OU mod actually put in a prediction in favor of Alabama today or yesterday. And this OU mod is connected not only to OU, but to the national scene. One of those guys where if he says it, I very much well trust what he says. But Ty Haywood, someone I would keep a close eye on.
Well, one last thing on Cunningham as well that might be an allure to Alabama is when you walk in that room with all the Alabama players playing the NFL, you don't have enough fingers and toes for all the just receivers that Alabama's put in the NFL. And Mississippi State hadn't put a wide receiver in the NFL since the advent of the iPhone. So, you know, you want to go somewhere that gets you to the place you really want to go, which is the league.
I heard that. Well, speaking of our league, let's transition to the SEC. Big news, big additions. Shout out to all the Boomer Sooner fans in the chat. But guys, let's discuss Alabama. Teams joining Alabama, but joining the SEC. Texas and Oklahoma. Let's talk about them coming in the SEC, and let's break down, what they're going to face and, some of their key players. Let's start in a different order. Let's go with Lushan, my main man. Can the Sooners and Texas really garner some steam? And, it's going to be different transitioning from the Big 12. What do you think they should be expecting?
First of all, I'd like to extend a welcome to the new guys, the Texas Longhorns and the Boom Assumers, however you guys say it in the chat. We're excited to have you guys in here. We're especially excited to have you guys' level of competition in the SEC. We're not adding slouch teams like Vanderbilt or like the Big Ten's adding just some absolute dog crap teams. You guys actually have respectable programs and are actually very good in recruiting. So it's actually going to be a good thing, in my opinion, to add actual strength to the already strongest conference in America. Now, I'm going to kind of go at this two different ways because obviously the schedule made me do it this way. So I'm going to break down what I think Texas can do. From what I'm looking at schedule-wise, Texas, they're going to see a little bit of the SEC schedule. They're not going to see the top tier that Oklahoma's necessarily going to see as far as strength of schedule. They're still going to see some SEC talent, and they're probably going to see a lot more of the SEC possible surprise teams on their schedule. Now, obviously, Texas comes in, I'm pretty sure that they are preseason ranked third. So they're obviously coming back loaded on offense. They still got Quinn Ewers. I know they still got some wide receivers that they didn't get a lot of burn because of Worthy and the other kid that they had last year, but I know they still got some talent. Plus, they got Isaiah Bond in the transfer portal. So, they got some weapons. But Oklahoma, I'm going to say if Oklahoma makes it out of November and they win 3 out of those 4 games, Oklahoma's going to be a team to watch in the future because they have probably, in my opinion, one of the toughest, if not the toughest, SEC schedule in the SEC. They got to face 6 of the top 15 ranked teams that they have preseason. So to me, Oklahoma, if they get through that, they got everybody that's good, everybody that's got talent. So, I'm excited to see what Oklahoma has. I haven't really dove into a lot of them, but obviously they're competitive. They got added to the conference. I'm excited to see what they got.
I'm excited as well. Patty, give us your take on Boomer Sooner and Longhorns.
Well, man, everybody's upset about I do that. I got my cousin in the chat. He's gonna get all upset now. He's a big Longhorn, and he's pumped. He said, "Hey, man, we're recruiting with Lambos. Y'all aren't gonna be able to keep up." But no, look, football's changing. We could cry over the spilt milk or accept what's coming, and look, forever we get to see experiment come to fruition. And I talk about this in the article I got coming out on the Bama Standard, but I'll touch on a little bit here. We get to see something we've said forever. Can the other power teams that have won, and let's be real, we've seen Oklahoma and Texas win national titles in our lifetime. They've been premier programs in our lifetime. They are blue bloods of the sport. But we've always said in the SEC, we got a little bit of arrogance and pride. Can these big programs come to our conference and win week in and week out? It's one thing to come to Tuscaloosa one time a year and knock off the giant that is Alabama. But then can you go to start Cowbell Hell, Mississippi the next weekend, and then Arkansas the next weekend, and then down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and then come home and face, Georgia. It's a never-ending gauntlet. And we get to see the experiment play out live, and I'm excited to see it because I do. I think these programs are two of the ones that that could possibly live up to the test that is the SEC and give some teams some challenges. But I'm also excited to see those Saturdays when they go and get their bell rung in a game that they weren't expecting to get their bell rung, and they're like, this is what it's all about. But no, man, it's exciting. I want to see what these teams have got. Texas got the better end of the stick on the schedule. I mean, they don't really play an SEC team. They play Michigan in the first month, but then they got State, but they get Oklahoma and Georgia in back-to-back, but that's pretty much their gauntlet. The rest is pretty manageable. Then they got Vanderbilt on the road, Florida at home, Arkansas away, Kentucky at home, A&M. That's a lot more manageable when you look at Oklahoma's schedule, who after they play Texas, they got South Carolina, who can be weird but not great, but then they got Ole Miss, Missouri, Bama, LSU. They are going to get the real SEC test out of the gate this first year. And, you know, like Lou was alluding to, Brent Venables is known for his defense at Clemson, and they finally got their quarterback in Jackson Arnold, who they think is the real deal. And they've got 3 wide receivers who they think, you know, could give them one of the better receiving corps in the country. So, you know, they've got some guns, and Texas is obviously number 3 in the country. They're bringing back Quinn Ewers, Cooks at wide receiver, Braxton at running back's a stud. They stole Isaiah Bond with a Lambo. I mean, they've stacked some talent, and Sarkisian's a hell of a coach. So I don't know. I keep rambling, but I'm excited to see the experiment finally come to fruition. Can these blue bloods come into the SEC and compete on a week in, week out basis? Matt, you're muted if you're talking, buddy.
I knew that. I was just saying. Ty Hayes, you're next. You cover around the table sports.
Let me go last, just in case I get long-winded.
Okay.
I'm going to give y'all some players you need to know from both
let me
teams.
go to Dan.
I had to cut it off. Yeah, I had to cut myself off so y'all can all
then
talk.
I go to Chris. Then we'll go to Ty. Dan.
Okay. All right. Well, I won't exactly get into players, but yes, welcome to the SEC, Texas and Oklahoma. You know, tremendous pickup, you know, for the league, and schools that was garnering momentum, you know, such as the Missouris, the Auburn, Florida, A&M, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Kentucky. Y'all path to becoming relevant has just got a whole lot tougher. You know, those schools that have been looking to break through in the SEC, you know, we just added more dirt on your grade. You know, but I think they're more than capable, you know, and they're a great football school, football pedigree. You know, I would have loved to see Oklahoma join during the Bob Stoops days. You know, that would have been something to see. You know, we're still trying to see figure out the Brent Venables Oklahoma. You know, so but yeah, we're a few years away from the Bob Stoops days. That would have been something enjoyable to see in the SEC, especially particularly in the West. You know, but now, you know, not having East and West, you know, it's like Petty said, you know, Texas has a pretty much, you know, simplified schedule. You know, it's a favorable schedule for them. You know, so I expect easy, you know, 11-win, you know, season. You know, anything less than that would be considered a huge, tremendous failure. I think Oklahoma's going to surprise some teams. You know, they you know, Brent Venables, he hangs his hat on defense, you know, which is good. You know, you have, you know, coming into a SEC, you know, just getting that defense turned around, which I think he will. You know, they built the SEC defensive line, you know, and I think they'll do better than a lot of people anticipate.
Chris, before I give it to you, I'm going to change the question up. Between Texas and Oklahoma, in regards to Alabama, which team has the best opportunity to be our next big rivalry school out of these two schools? Is it Oklahoma or Texas?
Well, it's kind of hard to say. The reason being because of the scheduling. It depends on what schedule you're going to get that year. Kind of like the NFL. You don't know what you're going to get. So, like for this year, Texas, man, they have a cup. They go to Michigan. I think they go to Michigan, or Michigan goes to them. I can't remember, but they play Michigan this year. And then they have Georgia. They have Oklahoma, and that's pretty much it. And A&M at the end of the year, they play Florida, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Kentucky, come on, man. Like they just gave Texas like the Georgia treatment.
Yeah.
So I think that this year Texas is going to be in there by default. Now, I will say if Oklahoma wins 8 games this year, call that a heck of a coaching job by Venables because Oklahoma has a gauntlet. Y'all hear me? They have a gauntlet. But with that being said, man, I think that both those are 2 blue blood programs that I think both will be fine. Venables, like if you're Oklahoma, at least you're defensive minded. You know what I'm saying? So because defense will keep you in games every week. Like when you're in the high scoring Big 12, those shootout week after week after week, and your defense bend but don't break, like that's not a recipe to survive in the SEC. And with having Venables, so they're going to be a defensive focused team, defensive center team. So I think they'll have success just off of that. As far as Texas is already built like a SEC team. But the one thing a lot of people are not mentioning is they lost Bo Davis, who is to LSU, who's like the guru, D-line guru. And it's been showing in their D-line recruiting this year. I think that that they're built for success just off of Sark because he's probably the best, one of the top 3 play callers. I think the top 3 play callers in college football are all in the SEC. Sark, DeBoer, and Kiffin. I think that they're the top 3 along with Lincoln Riley, but I think they're the top 3. Hyper, you got Hyper too.
Yeah, Hyper too.
Who's nothing to sneeze at. I think he's a top 5 guy. So not to take anything away from him, but I think both of them can endure the SEC, but I think Oklahoma is coming in with kind of cautiously optimistic, like they're living in reality. But Texas think, like from their fans, they think they're gonna come in and kick the door in, like they own it, and I think they're gonna get a reality check. It may not be this year because, like I said, they have a cupcake schedule. But as the season winds down, and if they make it to Atlanta or whatever, they're gonna get a reality check, man. Like their first trip, they're gonna have to make to Athens, or their first trip they're gonna have to make to Death Valley on a Saturday after playing at UGA the week before, something like that. When they get that 3-game gauntlet, like Florida has this year, then you'll start to see it. I think this league is about to spit and chew each other up and spit each other out. Like if you go 10-2 in this league going forward, that is a pretty much automatic playoff bid. So, but I think both of them are built to survive, and you probably couldn't find 2 better teams more suited, to join the SEC. As far as like geographically and historically speaking. So I'm excited, man. I just think that the league just got better, and welcome to both of them. And I think they both will compete for SEC championships. It's just all depends on, like I said, the schedule, how it shapes out year after year.
Amazing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the legend around the table sports. Todd, the floor is yours.
Yeah, in terms of, we'll start with Texas and then move to Oklahoma. In terms of Texas, I think Bo Davis leaving is a major question because it's not just Bo Davis leaving. Listen, I like Mitchell. I like Collins. I think they got 2 guys on the interior that are going to make noise, but they don't have Sweat, right? They don't have the dude that, like, they just lost 2 major pieces to that defensive front, and they lost Bo Davis. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. My biggest concern for Texas is not replacing those guys. It's not even linebacker. I think in between Benda and Anthony Hill, I actually would pick Anthony Hill as a breakout player in the SEC. He is incredible. Gentlemen, he is number 0 for Texas as a true freshman was rushing off the edge last year and giving Caden Proctor hell. And it's not like that's an indictment on Caden Proctor. He's that guy. Like, he is that good. Anthony Hill, 5-star from Denton Ryan, Texas. He's that guy. He's going to be a problem for years to come. That secondary, though, was the thorn in the side of that defense for Texas last year. They lose Terrence Brooks, which not a loss you want to sustain, But then they gain Makuba from Clemson, who's an Austin kid to begin with. That's a huge win. In fact, I think that's one of the biggest wins of the transfer portal that nobody's talking about. They desperately needed some help in the secondary. Makuba gives them that. But they also have Malik Muhammad. Do not sleep on Manny Muhammad. That kid is ridiculous. Saban wanted him. I think that you're going to see those two young guys, Anthony Hill and Manny Muhammad, have breakout years in the SEC. But I got to be honest, guys, that secondary to me is still a question mark. It's still very much a question mark for Texas. On the offensive side of the ball, I don't question their wide receivers. They get Isaiah Bond, but Silas Bolden is actually the guy I'm looking at and being like, you could really be the wide receiver one for the Longhorns. I think Isaiah Bond is great, but I think Silas Bolden has a deeper skill set, right? Like, and my only question with Isaiah Bond actually has nothing to do with Isaiah Bond. The only reason why I look at Silas Bolden and I'm like, okay, you're going to be interesting. Quinn really struggles on the deep shots. He was last in the Big 12 at completions over 20 yards, and that's not a one-off. That has consistently been the issue for Quinn Ewers. Now, and Smoking, you're right. Ryan Wingo is a monster. Monster. Quinn is automatic, right? Like when he sets his feet, he's going to be one of the best players in the nation. So the reason why I give you that isn't to say that Quinn can't fix it. It's actually a mechanical thing, in my opinion. It's the inconsistency in the footwork. If he cleans that up, which he can, watch out. The guy can hit every blade of grass on the football field if he does everything right. But he's one of those guys, Dan, it'd be fun to talk to you about this. Some of these kids coming out of high school are so talented, are so gifted that they don't have to do all the little things right to be the best, right? And that's Quinn. He never had to do all the little things right, but now he's in college. Now he's in the SEC, and he's still an upper echelon quarterback in college. I only give you that because it's the difference of being a bottom of the first round, quarterback to being a top 2 guy off the board. He cleans up that deep ball accuracy. I mean, he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks off the board. You can book it. Mm-hmm. Let's go to Oklahoma.
Before you go, Ty.
I'm surprised you didn't mention their offensive line, Ty.
Well, that's going to be a Joe Moore Award winning unit, right? Like they're going to be in the contention for the Joe Moore Award. Kyle Flood is an incredible offensive line coach. And not much to talk about there. They're good.
Nothing but juniors and seniors too. I mean, it's just experience. I did want to throw that out there because look, they're coming loaded to this league, guys. Be ready. They'll threaten for Atlanta year one.
I wanted to throw out the whole Archie Manning effect.
We don't talk. No, we don't talk. That's like no. We don't. That's the name that is not spoken around me, Matt. We don't do no.
QB drama. It's gonna be QB drama.
Benedict Arnold.
I think Quinn, unless he gets hurt, he finishes out the season because, like I said, Quinn is really good. I'm a little hard on Quinn because I know that if he fixes that one thing, he goes from good to unbelievable. Watch the Bama game. His footwork in the Bama game was consistent all the way through, and he was dropping some of the most beautiful passes of all of last year. That's what I'm talking about. Going to Oklahoma. When we look at Oklahoma, guys, they returned the most defensive players out of any team in the SEC. Like, they return the 9th most amount of defensive players in the nation. They have got a really interesting defense. They made a key addition in Dominic Williams from TCU on that defensive front. I do think that's going to make all the difference in the world. They've been working at some competitive depth. Remember the name Jaden Jackson? They got David Stone. He's a 5-star. He's incredible. Remember Jaden Jackson, genuinely one of my favorite players from last year's class. But if you're asking for players you need to know on that Oklahoma defense, Billy Bowman in the secondary returns. That's a huge win. But Danny Stutsman, they're not just 1 or 2 deep at linebacker. They're 4 deep at linebacker. Guys that if any of those guys, God forbid, goes down for a game, they've got multiple different options. They've got a really good linebacking unit. On the offensive side, I think it's fair to have questions about Oklahoma's offensive line. I think that's completely logical. They do have Bill Bedenbaugh. For what it's worth, I hold out Bill Bedenbaugh to be the best offensive line coach in the nation. I mean, he gets 3 stars, sends them to the NFL, and they're the guys resetting the market for their position time after time after time. So I don't think that OU will have a Joe Moore award-winning unit, but I don't think they're going to be bad. Bill Bedenbaugh is one of those guys. Until he gives me a reason not to believe in him, I'm going to believe in him.
But he's going to have to work on that point. He's going to have to work some magic because his 3 interior guys are all transfers. So it is a new group.
Yeah, I mean, true, but he's done this before.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
This isn't new. And Steven, I already mentioned Dominic Williams. I talked about that when I was on the defense. But yeah, big win. As far as wide receiver, Petty, they're deeper than 3.
Yeah, well, it's just the front line 3 is
they've got a flexible thing, right? It's more than the front.
Nick Anderson's a stud.
Nick Anderson, Gibson, Dion Burks, Petaway, and that's like they have got some names in that wide receiver room. They have a really good wide receiver room. It's all about what does the offensive line allow them to do. And the interesting thing, what I'll end on, while Oklahoma returns the most talent on defense, they return the least on offense, right? So I think that Brent Venables is an SEC-style coach. Coach Sark understands the SEC. These are 2 great additions.
Hey, and then my boy Todd Bates coaches the D-line at Oklahoma. Yeah. And he's big time. He was the one, he's behind those Clemson D-lines that were dominant a few years back. So keep an eye on them. The one thing about it, we know they're going to have a good pass rush. And they're going to have a stout run defense. So don't sleep on Oklahoma. Like they're the type of team that if they get rolling and get that traction going, that visit for Bama is going to be tough. And late.
I've already circled it. I think it's going to be a tough game. It's
going to be tough regardless.
Outside of Alabama's middle linebacker core, it's one of my favorite in the league with Stutsman and Lewis.
Well, and it's you put Kip up there. Yeah, I love Kip Lewis. Kip Lewis is
Kip Lewis, man, that dude's stud.
He's a dog. He's a little undersized too, but you wouldn't know it watching him play.
Yeah, if they're in the conversation for the SEC title that week that Bama goes there, that's going to be tough, man. And that Billy Bowman, that kid is a stud in that secondary.
Yeah, he is 6
unreal.
Interceptions.
He's unreal.
One last thing on that, man. How happy are these teams, though, to be coming to the SEC? I heard this on a show, and I don't even remember. I've been watching so many, and I don't even know where they got the stat that Tuscaloosa makes 3 times as much on a game day as Norman, Oklahoma, when they're playing a Big 12 matchup. Wow. So it
does mean more, right? And these are
just
2
means
SEC
more
brands.
to come to the SEC, doesn't it?
It does.
These are 2 SEC brands.
Well, their brands fit, man. Texas is one of the look. If you talk top 5 brands in college football, outside once you get outside of Alabama, Texas is absolutely one of the next ones out of your mouth.
And OU is one of the few unquestioned blue bloods.
I mean, when we grew up, you got your SEC game in the South. Outside of that, you saw Miami, Florida State, Oklahoma, and Texas on TV. That was it. So I mean, in our growing up lifetime, before you could watch every game on TV, you only saw the powers, and that was Alabama when they were on. That and it
great
was
additions.
Texas. Yeah, it really is.
I was mad at Oklahoma for a long time about that Sugar Bowl with Trevor Knight.
Well, listen. Well, no, we talked about Texas and Oklahoma. At the end of the day, we don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. No, but glad y'all are coming to the SEC. It's going to be exciting. But speaking of exciting, listen, go to Wet Wheel Sports, get your title towel. You can wave it around like a helicopter when Oklahoma comes to Tuscaloosa next year. So, but this year, go to wetwheelsports.com. Use the promo code STANDARD, that's standard, at wetwheelsports.com and get you an amazing crimson title towel. Let's go. So, guys, if let's go to our next topic. Let's talk about the wide receivers. Now, we discussed. We think, coming out the spring, Jeremy Bernard's probably going to be that wide receiver 1. Guys, let's go around the panel. Let's go with Lushan. We'll pop you off first. Who do you think is going to be challenging for that? Maybe not wide receiver 1, but in that rotation, maybe the next man up for Jalen Milroe and Kalen DeBoer in this offense.
I'm gonna go Kendrick Law.
I like that.
Really good one.
Go short and sweet. Kendrick Law. He brings a Swiss Army knife in weapons that we haven't seen in a wide receiver type in a long time, and maybe even ever. And the way Jalen hits him in the spring game and what I've seen in some practice films and in this Kalen DeBoer offense, I think he could challenge, if not take it, depending on how this offense breaks down. But like I said before, there's going to be a whole lot of mouths to feed in that offense, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough being top dog every week.
Right. Very similar to Bernard, similar to the player.
Dan, who do you have?
Oh, Lucian took mine. I'm going to go with Kobe Prentice.
Kobe.
Yeah, I think this is his year. If he's gonna do anything, it's gonna be this year. This is his year to do it. He has breakout player potential. He had the speed, the hand, just be able to play through contact. But I think in this offense, this will fit his skill set a little more. So I'm expecting a big year out of Kobe Prentice.
Let's go, Chris. You only can name one.
Oh, I already got one. It wouldn't surprise me if he led the team in receptions. If he overtook Bernard.
Who?
Ryan Williams, man.
Damn it.
Oh,
I wish you would have called me before.
Chris. He's the best receiver to come out of Bama in years. The kid is ready, man. He's electrifying. He is Percy Harvin. He's going to have an impact like Percy Harvin did at Florida. And he is going to electrify Brian Denny and all these other stadiums. When the ball gets in his hand, you better hold your breath.
And he's not lacking confidence.
He's not lacking confidence.
Yeah, I love it. Let's go, Todd, then Patty.
Yeah, I think if we're talking about just pure wide receiver touches, I think Kobe Prentice is the name to watch. If you're talking about offensive impact, Kendrick Law, because of his Swiss Army knife ability, I think he's going to be an absolute weapon. Love the Ryan Williams pick, though. No shortage of weapons in that room to challenge Jeremy Bernard.
Patty?
I hate going behind Chris. I feel like that kid in the lunch line, and Chris gets the last damn steak finger. You're like, no, I mean, I think Law is the clear cut answer, but I think Ryan Williams, the new mayor of Alabama. I mean, the Mr. Alabama has got, but okay, so Williams gone. I think Law is the answer. I'm going to go with a dark horse because I think with his size and mismatch ability in the red zone, it's the boy we've been getting love to all offseason, Kaleb Odom. I mean, he is going to be a mismatch in the red zone, and I think if him and Milroe get that spark going down there, he's going to score a lot of TDs.
Would Saban always say, create value for yourself? Easy way to create value for yourself is be a mismatch in the red zone to be an automatic target to where you're going to be real hard to take off the field.
That's right. And I think Odom can do it quickly.
Shout out to Cole Adams and Henderson, man.
That's Slotty Pippen.
Cole Adams gonna be
Slotty Pippen.
Ridiculous.
Like Ty said it, just weapons, man. Bullets everywhere.
Hey, let's not get it construed now. Let's not get it misconstrued. If Jalen Hale was healthy, it would be him hands down.
Oh, I don't talk about it. That hurts me to this day.
It would be him hands down. But Bernard's gonna have one blow up season in Tuscaloosa. He's gone, and Hale's gonna step back in.
Let's go. Well, guys, let's go to a topic that we love to discuss. And let's talk about teams from Alabama. And from Alabama's perspective, which orange team, preseason snub, Bama players left off the All-American team. We know Jaden Roberts got snubbed. Guys, let's talk about this kind of real quickly. Jalen Milroe. Let's just talk about it. Let's talk about the Bama players left off the All-American team. Let's go. Petty, we'll start with you first, real quick.
Look, man, I guess we're doing this on namesake. Look, Milroe, Roberts, definitely. But, man, we put Perkins from LSU. I get that he's got talent, but he was they didn't know how to use him last year, so he didn't put up the numbers. Man, give me Lawson ahead of Perkins in the SEC. That would be the snub that I don't get. Maybe I'm a homer on that. I think Lawson's going to have an All-American season.
Ty.
Parker Brailsford.
Oh,
He's one of the highest graded centers in the nation. as a
Yeah,
true
great.
freshman.
Yeah, good call, Ty.
And I get it. He moves to the SEC, but now he's got Alabama's strength and conditioning behind him, right? Like now he's got Booker and Roberts beside him. Parker Brailsford, to me, I thought that he would be. Justin says he's on there, not on what I'm looking at, so you're going to have to send me that. Yeah, not. Oh, he's second team, I guess. Yeah, but I think he should be first team.
Okay. Lose, Sean. Give it to us. I think I know where you're going.
I don't think there is such thing as a preseason snub. I think there's what's called preseason motivation. And the fact that nobody is actually recognizing the level of talent in Damani Jackson or LT Overton or or Keon Sabb or any of the other guys that transferred in, it's just giving motivation for him. And I love it because, I mean, you leave a guy off in the preseason. Oh, you don't know who I am? Let me show you. And I know it's the attitude a lot of these players have. They're about to show you who they are. So keep sleeping on us.
Please do. Chris, this one you can name as many players as you want. Go.
Man, I think that's a travesty for him not to even be second team. I think that he got robbed. I think that Jahad Campbell, he deserved to be. He'll have lost on one of those two. They both deserve to be on there. It's kind of hard to argue anybody else, offensively, even though I think the list is going to look different after the season. And the one that shocked me, this is not Bama related. I'm just shocked that Caleb Downs wasn't first team. Yeah, he was the first team. They had, of course, you had Will Johnson from Michigan, who we all agree. Yeah. Malachi Starks from Georgia. Okay. Travis Hunter. And they had another kid from Notre Dame.
At safety?
Xavier Watts from Notre Dame over Caleb Downs. I think that's kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's hard to argue with this list, man. These are great football players, man.
Anybody from Notre Dame on it's crazy.
Yeah, but like they got Clay Webb. Come on, man. Clay Webb over. I know he's good, but Clay Webb, man, over Jaden Roberts. Clay Webb was at Jacksonville State. Like not a knock on Jacksonville State, but come on, man. When Jaden Roberts got in that lineup last year, he took Bama's run game to a whole nother level they hadn't seen all year. Now, he was the catalyst behind the O-line, and that guy deserved to be at least second team at worst. But I felt like he should have been first team. But it's just motivation. So you can't cry with spilled milk.
Yeah, they'll prove it this fall. Any other players that you think got left off?
Man, my guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I'm gonna say it again. Jaden Roberts. How the hell do you leave him off?
Right.
True.
How? He changed the trajectory of our season. Last year we're headed for a rough season. You know what I'm saying? But we inserted Jaden Roberts, and the difference he made on that line, it was Landon Dickerson like.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it's preseason. It doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? I could care less about the preseason list. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the year, if we have this, then we got a problem.
Patty, what about Peyton Thorne? Which list was he on? Was he on the wall?
Oh, dude. Preseason first team Farmers only All-American, like number one in their hearts. Like he got all those awards. It's Opelika Times did a big piece on it. They put it up in the bathroom at the local massage parlors for reading material. Everybody is pumped on the loveliest trailer park on the plains that to make farmersonly.com All-American team, you got to be putting it with some big chicks. And that man put in the work this offseason. So Shout out to him. Peyton Thorne, you added the Y this offseason. Peyton Thorne, prop.
They say it is a big chick
Hey, man.
town.
Like you ask Auburn fans, like they're really mad that you got guys like Cam Coleman that didn't get named. Or you ever played a down?
Did they even
Like,
make? I don't even
that's
think they
delusional,
made the
man.
All-State team. Is Auburn got a player on the All-State team?
Dude, if they did an all-state, if they did an all Lee County team,
Would Auburn have a
Peyton Thorne would
starter?
be 13 quarterback. It'll be the kid from Auburn High School.
Central Phoenix City.
If they did all Lee County, he wouldn't even be first team. All Lee County. That's
Isn't that kid like a freshman?
It'll
How
be-
did Luther Burden? Is there two better receivers than Luther Burden in college football? Because I looked at that and I kind of laughed.
Hey, you know the comparison? That's the Caleb Cunningham comparison right there.
Luther
Yeah.
Burden, yeah.
Yeah.
Burden's best receiver in college football. That's goofy.
I think Stewart got something to say about it. The one that went to Oregon, Evan
Yeah.
Stewart. I think he's
the
gonna
one from
really
A&M.
blow up.
That dude's a stud. He took
I
over
think he's
games,
gonna
but their
really blow
offense
up
was so
in the
stupid
game.
and sucky you never knew it. But he was good.
Man, they didn't know how to use them. That's Jimbo for you.
Real quick, guys, since we're talking about Auburn and the Thorns, which orange team do you hate most? Go around the horn. Petty.
Man, look, I get that Knoxville looks like a big workers' truck convention. Like pumpkin, that ugly orange you can't even sit with.
A
But man,
throw
it's
up orange.
that throw up orange. But look, it's Auburn for me. I guess being from Mississippi and not coming to Alabama until high school, I didn't have to deal with the Tennessee side as much. And it's Auburn, man. They're just annoying as hell.
Dan James, which orange team do you hate the
Man,
most?
that's easy. I don't even know why you waste your time. Tennessee,
Oh, wow. Okay. Why Tennessee, Dan?
the garbage. They got garbage truck orange. I just hate everything Tennessee. I really hate them. You know,
Fat Phil still squilling it.
volunteer. You know,
Lucia, I can't wait to hear you. I know you got some. Or do you
Let
want
me
to go last?
Let me
You
go
wanna
last.
go last? Okay.
Let me go
Chris,
last.
which orange team do you hate the most?
Oh, Tennessee, man, without a doubt. I hate what I hate. Oh my God, I hold my breath if I ever have to drive through Knoxville. Hey, but you know what's crazy? The answer is who's second that I hate the most. Because Auburn is like a little thorn, and I don't necessarily just hate Auburn. They're like little brother that just, you know, you can't. It's hard to hate them. They little brother, but it's a close second between Texas and Clemson.
Oh,
I don't like.
throwing two new orange in the mix.
Texas fans, they get a little annoying at times.
Well, they beat us
like
this
that.
year, dude. It was horrible.
listen.
Like, Texas and Clemson, them two, I cannot like. I love Syracuse, but Texas and Clemson, I even like Illinois.
I
Well,
love
Chris,
the
let me
random. I
ask you
love
a question.
Syracuse.
Chris, if Dabo wasn't
I like
coaching
that
Clemson, would you feel the same way?
If Dabo what?
No, it just
If he
it's
wasn't
more
coaching
so,
Clemson.
it's more so it's like the cult. They're like a cult, man.
But
He's
it
a leader.
wasn't always like that. You
But I
understand?
didn't hate
Tua.
Clemson before
It
Dabo.
wasn't always like that.
No, I didn't hate Clemson before Dabo.
Yeah, so
Van's comment is classic.
I tour. Spit on Tennessee.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Lucian, round us out here.
Now listen. The most important thing you have to realize about hating an orange team is that I hate all of them. I hate all of them very deeply. But Auburn doesn't really count because, like Chris said, they're just more of a thorn in the side. You know when you stub your big toe when you wake up in the morning and you just like ain't feeling it? That's what Auburn really
get
is.
your angle on that
And
big
then-
reel.
Right. And then you got, Texas, they were kind of relevant, when I was born back in the day, but that was like close to 25, 30 years ago. But they made a good comeback. And it's just like, that worn orange that you just get tired of hearing. And, Longhorns, they're good to eat, but other than that, what are they good for? And then you got just that putrid, just ugly, just checkered orange. For what reason? There's no reason to wear that. Nobody likes that color outside of that weird ass state. So I'm going to go with Tennessee by far is my most hated school. I hate them. I hate them. There's too much orange. I hate them.
I hate them.
But close second is the disappearing fingers, khaki pant wearing, nose picking, Dabu Sweeney leading.
Listen, man.
I hate Clemson too.
Hey,
I hate Tigers. Hey, I hate two things. I hate the color orange and I hate Tigers. It's just a fact.
I love
hate them both.
Hey, Lou.
They got two Emmys on.
Would Florida be considered the orange team?
Listen, we hunt gators down where we're from, man. Ain't nobody worried about the gators. I mean, they might wear orange. I don't hate Florida either because they're not relevant.
We got so many balls and we got so many fan bases in the chat. Let's go.
Balls like their sister's booty. What's that? Bama likes her sister's booty. Wait, wasn't it Tennessee who had an entire frat get out for butt chugging beer? Like, hold on now.
Hey,
hold on.
Let me tell you, these guys really dug up a goalpost and went and carried it to the river and threw it in the river because they beat Bama.
Like, well, for the first time in my 13-year-old kid's life.
Hey,
with help from the referee.
Hey, in their defense, what did you guys do when you lost your virginity?
Oh, yeah.
I picked up a goal.
I mean, that's pretty much like what it was, man. 16 years. You know what I'm saying? 16 years. Pop that cherry. You got to celebrate.
Virginity in Tennessee is like throwing a pole in a river.
The thing about it, they didn't beat us. We got cheated. That was an interception, dude.
That was game. Kool-Aid's pick was game.
Up by a touchdown. We got the game-sealing pick.
We got beat because our defensive coordinator refused to change the guy that got burnt worse than anything I've ever seen.
He kept leaving our safeties on the island with the doggone Hyatt, man. Like that was the
that too
dumbest, most idiotic.
Yeah.
Patty, I got a question for you. If Alabama, Texas, and Oklahoma are blue bloods, what is Auburn?
Orange
blue balls.
As they say in Game of Thrones, they're the moon's blood.
They're the blood stain.
That comes once a month for the ladies. That thing.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Lou laughed immediately. He knew what I was saying. For you Game of Thrones fans, y'all get it.
That's disgusting. Hey, yeah, but man, that's
what kind of blood are they?
Do they even bleed?
What, cows?
No.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get back on course. Chris, since you ended it, how can they follow you, reach out to you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr., on Instagram at final _ Chris. You can find me on Twitter at Coach Chris James or X at Coach Chris James. And I'm on the other stuff, but I just look TikTok and all that. I just look. But yeah, man. And most importantly, you can find me here every Tuesday night with the best cast in America, the Avengers. You got Thor, you got Hulk, you got Black Panther, and you got Iron Man.
Iron Man.
You got Iron Man. You got Iron Man right there.
Petty is Deadpool.
Oh yeah, you got Deadpool. Then I guess I'll be what's the guy's name? The old man, the owner of Marvel.
No, you Nick Fury.
Nick Fury, exactly.
I need glasses like Nick Fury. I can't see what's out.
Lucian, before I give it to you, I want to shout out.
Nick Fury doesn't have glasses. He has an eye patch.
He got an eye patch.
No, I know he can't see, and he like me. He has one eye. That's me. Like his one eye vision.
Don't worry.
We're not going to give Chris a Marvel test at any point.
Don't. And the owner of Marvel was Stan Lee, Chris, to answer your question.
Stan Lee, that's my boy.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, that's your boy.
Stan Lee.
Lucian, before I go to you, I want to shout out the chat. We heard from Sooner fans, I think some Texas fans, obviously Auburn fans, all these Tennessee ball fans. I mean, come back in. We love to have y'all in here talking smack. Lucian, how can they
smack trash?
You know, shout out to all the Butch Jones lovers in the chat. I love that energy. He did help us, man. He was everything to our team. I love it, man.
Slow down.
Shout out to Chris Williams. We're still waiting for you to bring back more Auburn fans. You know,
he's the only
shout
one.
Out to all the Sooner
He
fans.
is the only Auburn
fan.
He's it.
Auburn, we're still waiting on you guys. In Tennessee, we don't like you. I'm just going to be honest. I don't like the color orange. But thanks for coming, though. We appreciate y'all. You can find me on X, Rolush21, always sharing something Alabama football, whether it's recruiting or what's going on with the team or whether we're just gearing up to just mop y'all. Yeah, I'm sorry. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at Lucian Graves doing the same thing, keeping Alabama. But most importantly, you can find me every Tuesday night with the greatest cast of Avengers talking about the greatest team and the greatest conference now because, I mean, it's undisputed. We had Texas and Oklahoma. It's over, as they say. You know what I'm saying? So, no daggone time for me, fellas.
That Big Ten looking pretty too now.
From what?
When you add, I'm saying just by adding Oregon, Washington, USC, all those schools they added
UCLA.
From the West Coast.
Hey,
but,
man.
I mean, just from a name perspective,
uniform standpoint.
And ACC added Stanford and Cal.
They just got smarter.
Damn.
Let's pull up the IQ from the Florida State fan.
They made themselves a group of 5.
Damn, how can they reach you?
Y'all, catch me on Twitter, X, whatever they call it. X now, I guess that's it. At the Final Whistle, Dan. You catch me on this channel right here every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Wednesday nights, Crimson Dynasty. Catch me tomorrow night, every Wednesday night. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. With Hannah Stevens and C.G. Payne. And make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button. Other than that, you catch me right here on this channel. This is where it all starts and ends, right here. On the Bama Standard Network and the Final Whistle with this awesome cast of Avengers. I'm gonna change my Avenger name. I'm gonna be let me see. I want to be
Hawkeye.
Mr. Fantastic.
Who?
Mr. Fantastic.
Okay, Petty.
What's your strip club name?
That's the wrong stuff, bud.
He come out there with a spray bottle.
He go on some red tights, like Dusty Road. I mean, not Dusty Road. Like what's his name? The wrestler with them tights.
Oh, that's right.
Petty.
I heard you on stage in your tighty whitey.
Patty, how can they find you?
Justin, you ring that bell.
I feel like I'm in Breaking Bad. And
Hey,
how can they keep hitting the bell?
How can they find you and Hugh Freeze?
You can find me probably on wanted posters in Lee County, especially at the massage parlor. FarmersOnly.com done kicked me off. Don't look there. But where you can find me, every time y'all say X, I'm expecting somebody to finish that out with videos.com. MilfHoppers. Never mind. You can find me on X at Petty_Daniel. You can find me on Facebook at Petty, which I'll probably be blacklisted from all this after all saying all that. Also, I got to give a shout out. You can catch me on a podcast. My Mom Thinks You're Dumb. That is the name of the podcast. My Mom Thinks You're Dumb, and she does think you're dumb. I moonlight on that podcast from time to time. Check out the after hours episodes. I'll be there talking all kind of nonsense. It's not just sports. It's sports and a little bit of everything else. But My Mom Thinks You're Dumb. And more importantly, I'm here with my Avengers every Tuesday night, talking trash, talking football, talking Alabama, making fun of Auburn, just cutting up in general and having a good time of life, with my boys. So catch me here Tuesday nights. One more thing. Yeah. Tyler Siskey, guy who's gotten a little famous for his Nick Saban stories. He told me he would come on the show. We're supposed to touch base. Hopefully he comes through with that. So keep an eye out. Mr. Tyler Siskey may be coming on the Final Whistle sometime in July. So keep your eyes peeled. Maybe we can get one of those crazy Saban stories out of the guy.
Let's go.
Hey, Matt, and if you use the promo code Dan Stone, you'll get a discount. A discount.
You get a free month at farmersonly.com. And if you go under the screen name Peyton Thorny, all the big chicks you want will flood in.
Thorny!
Just
Well, listen, guys, don't forget about the other shows on the Bama Standard. You got Crimson Dynasty starring Dan James tomorrow at 6:30. Teague's Take and Saturday nights talking football here on Alabama Standard Network. But listen, guys, unlike Hugh Freeze, we don't give a piss about none but the tie here at the Final Whistle. Tune in next show, next Tuesday, same channel, same time. And we like to end on those 2 words.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Talk to us.
See you next week, Chris.
Bama
Yo,
Blitz.
y'all to see Justin. A tour.
Burn them trees.
A tour.
Burn them.
Man, we need to
Chewy
wrap this